Since it's clear that there are a large number of people who don't feel represented by either party and are moving toward independence, what could our alternatives be? And I don't think it's just a third party. I would like to talk about a multi-party system. Let's first talk about what a multi-party system is. A multi-party system is basically when voters have more than just two giant umbrella parties to choose from. So instead of squeezing everyone into Democrat or Republican, you have multiple parties that reflect different parts of the political spectrum. And I want to point out that I'm talking about multi-party system versus a third party because often when people hear third party, they think, especially with president, well, a third party can't win. Like that's just a
Right,
wasted vote. And
right.
that's not like we need to think bigger than that. We need to think about like how can we revamp our system, redo it in a way that works for more people. So I would like to see a viable multi-party system, and in order for that to happen, we'd have to change how we vote and how votes are counted. And Jazzy has already beat me to my uh video where she said, "I think Canada has that in Germany." So let's watch a video that explains the different types of voting systems.
First past the post, FPTP. Origin, widely used in British parliamentary elections since the 18th century. FPTP is a simple plurality system where voters select one candidate and the candidate with the most votes wins. It's used in single member districts. Pros: easy to understand, quick results, encourages stable majority governments. Cons: can lead to wasted votes, underrepresentation of smaller parties, and strategic voting. Example: United Kingdom, United States for Congress, Canada. 2. Two-round system, runoff voting. Origin, developed in France in the 19th century. In this system, if no candidate gets a majority, over 50%, in the first round, the top two face off in a second round. Pros: ensures majority support, gives voters a second chance to choose. Cons: more costly and time consuming, may lower turnout in the second round. Example: France, presidential elections, many African nations. 3. Ranked choice voting, instant runoff voting. Origin, first adopted in Australia in the early 20th century. Voters rank candidates in order of preference. If no candidate has a majority, the least popular is eliminated and votes are redistributed based on preferences, repeating until someone wins. Pros: reduces strategic voting, ensures broader support, eliminates need for second election.
Cons, more complex to count and explain, may confuse voters.
Example: Australia, House of Representatives, parts of the US, Maine, New York City. 4. Proportional representation, PR. Origin, developed in Belgium in the 19th century. Parties gain seats in proportion to the number of votes they receive. There are several types: party list PR, mixed member PR, etc. Pros: fairer representation of smaller parties, fewer wasted votes, more diversity. Cons: can lead to fragmented parliaments and coalition governments. Example: Netherlands, Israel, South Africa. 5. Mixed member proportional, MMP. Origin, adopted by Germany post World War II to blend majoritarian and proportional elements. Voters cast two votes, one for a candidate and one for a party. Some seats are filled by district winners, others are allocated to match overall party vote share. Pros: combines local representation and proportional fairness. Cons: more complex, party list control may reduce individual accountability. Example: Germany, New Zealand. 6. Approval voting. Voters can vote for as many candidates as they approve of. The candidate with the most approval votes wins. Pros: simple, reduces vote splitting, encourages consensus candidates. Cons: doesn't show intensity of preference, unfamiliar to many voters. Example: used in some US cities like Fargo, ND. 7. Board account. Voters rank candidates, and points are assigned based on position in ranking. The candidate with the most total points wins. Pros: reflects broader preferences, favors consensus over polarizing candidates. Cons: vulnerable to tactical voting, less known. Example, used in academic organizations and some party leadership elections. 8. Single transferable vote, STV. A proportional system where voters rank candidates, votes are transferred based on preferences to achieve proportional outcomes in multi-member districts. Pros: very fair, minimizes wasted votes, empowers voter choice. Cons: complex to administer and count, can confuse voters. Example, Ireland, Malta, local elections in Scotland.
Any of those appeal to you?
The one that would appeal to me maybe is the ranking the candidates and voting that way, because you do get a second opportunity to cast a vote. You know, one if candidates are eliminated and then you take however many that are left behind with the majority of the votes and you get to vote again, I think that would be more representative of the people, because if your candidate doesn't make it to the next round, you do have an opportunity for your voice to still be heard. So I kind of like that one.
Yeah, we have that for New York primaries.
Yeah, yeah.
And we
And it's this cycle is the first time that I even knew that. I didn't even know that about New York and that you guys voted like that. But yeah, I
it
kind of
is
like
fairly
the idea of it.
new. It's fairly
Mhm,
new. I think this is the second time that we've done it, and the first time, uh, I did get to vote in the primary, and I remember I didn't rank Eric Adams at all, and I'm like, "Why the fuck is he our mayor?"
oh my
I keep
gosh, yeah.
calling other people. He was not even in the 5, and I was like, "How is he?" Anyway, I do like the system because I
Mhm.
feel like, one, you feel more invested because you don't just have one choice, you have multiple choices. So even if
Yeah.
your first choice doesn't get in, then maybe your second or third choice does. So you
Mhm.
still feel like you have some attachment and like you have some choice in the matter.
Yeah.
Where the winner take all thing just doesn't always seem fair.
No. And I also too think giving people a second opportunity, maybe that person that just didn't think it was worth it to go out and vote, if you've got a second chance, like, okay, we've cut it down and narrowed it down to these candidates, and you start looking at the candidates and thinking, well, maybe I should get out there and vote. Maybe I should have my voice heard. So it's also a second opportunity maybe to get some voters off the couch and into the voting booths.
Yeah. I really like, generally the idea of proportional representation. So everybody gets kind of a slice of the pie.
Mhm.
Uh, that seems more fair. And so, like when you mentioned earlier that some Democrats don't even like go speak to people in red states because they don't even think they have a chance of winning, that
Yeah,
would solve that problem because you have a chance with everybody. It's just finding your people, and you would get representation in Congress or in your like local parties just
yeah.
based on proportion of representation.
I
I mean,
honest yeah, I honestly wish that we could just drop the parties altogether. I'm gonna be honest with you, and just have people go out there and tell you what they're all about. Never mind whether they're a Democrat or Republican or whatever. Just tell me what you're going to do for me. And whether I like what you say or whether I believe what you say, then you may or may not get my vote. But I think having labels preconditions people to look for reasons to vote for that person, especially if they're in your party that you're affiliated with. So
yeah.
let's drop the parties.
I want to show a video that talks about proportional representation and how that could work.
Wonder why Congress can't get anything done and how to fix it? Well, there's a great new piece in the New York Times that says if we want to change the outcomes, we need to change our election system. For example, most democracies in the world use proportional representation or PR, and it works exactly how it sounds. If 40% of a district votes Republican and 60% votes Democratic, Republicans would win 40% of seats in the district and Democrats would win 60%. This means nearly everyone would have a member of Congress in their district who represents their views. And elected officials who come from different parties but represent the same district would have new incentives to work together. According to the New York Times, proportional representation could even foster more parties and give Americans the wider range of choices that they want. Congress is already exploring opportunities to adopt PR via a bill called the Fair Representation Act, as well as a new study commission. But the good news is you don't have to wait for Congress. You can advance PR in your own community. Portland, Oregon just became the largest city to use it, and local activists have also brought forms of PR to cities in Illinois, Minnesota, and Michigan in recent years. If you want to get involved, visit fairvoteaction.org/get-involved.
So
Yes, I like that.
I do too, and I had no idea that there was even a bill up for discussion about this. Like, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
don't know if it'll go anywhere, but at least people are thinking about it.
Now is that a state bill somewhere, or is it a
It
national bill?
seems like it's national.
Huh, okay.
Oregon's already doing it, but it sounds like it's national. I haven't heard of it, so and on obviously, we have so many other things that are going on in this country that it's not surprising that we wouldn't hear about everything going on.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I definitely wanna learn more about it and find out how to support it because I am in favor.
mhm,
Do you
yeah.
think that do you think that people would be open to changing how we vote?
I think people would be. I don't think that politicians will be. I they're all too afraid of losing their seats and losing their power. I really don't think that they would support something like that, but I think the people would.
Yeah, I wonder about that, and I think it would have to be the people who demanded the change and pushed party parties to adjust,
Mhm.
but I think they would be one of our biggest hurdles to make these things happen.
Yeah, I think so. I but if you were to push that, if that were actually to become the way we voted, that might solve, the issue of what I was talking about before, where you have certain parties that their politicians don't even go into certain areas because they just automatically assume, well, that person's gonna vote that district is gonna vote Republican, that district is gonna vote Democratic. But if you make people speak to all the people, I think that there would be a more fair and accurate representation of the people in government.
Yeah, I just know that we already are kinda acting like we're in a multi-party system because people are leaving the Democratic Party, they're leaving the Republican Party, and they need a place to go.
Yeah, yeah,
So, I'm not saying it would be easy, but people are dissatisfied, so it seems like now is as good a time as any to try something new.
yes. I agree with you on that because I don't think that there's been disproportionate a number of people that feel so disenfranchised by politics as the state that we're in right now.
Yeah.
So, I'm a bit of a control freak. I think that's the only reason why I haven't left the Democratic Party because I do wanna have a voice even in the primaries. It's like I can't sit back and watch who everybody else is voting for and then cast my vote. I'm a bit of a control freak that way. I wanna know that I have a voice, but I definitely have not felt like a Democrat in a long time.
Yeah, I really thought long and hard about my decision because of the primary thing, but ultimately for me, I decided, like, if I don't agree with the system, participating in it is not gonna help change it.
That's true.
Um, and the more and I'm not this is not an indictment of you or anyone else. Everyone has to make their own choice, but I figure the more people who decide to withdraw from the system, the more likely it is to change. So
Yeah.
here's hoping, and I'm gonna be looking up that bill.
Sorta like a almost like a political boycott.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh,
Exactly.
interesting. Yeah.